Gaza. Security Council adopts U.S. resolution calling for immediate, full, and complete ceasefire. Gaza. Security Council adopts U.S. resolution calling for immediate, full, and complete ceasefire. Adopted by a large majority with 14 votes in favor and Russia abstaining, choosing not to exercise its veto power, the resolution also urges both parties to fully implement the terms of the proposal without delay and without condition. Russia's permanent representative told the Council after the vote there was a lack of clarity over what exactly Israel had signed up to in the resolution, leaving too many questions unanswered for Moscow to offer its support. Signaling a hopeful shift in diplomacy, the US-led initiative brought both Israel and the Palestinian mission on board, avoiding the vetoes from permanent members, including the US itself, which have stalled action on several of the resolutions which have failed to pass since the 7 October terror attacks and kidnappings began the cycle of violence. Phase 1 includes an immediate, full, and complete ceasefire with the release of hostages including women, the elderly, and the wounded, the return of the remains of some hostages who have been killed, and the exchange of Palestinian prisoners. It calls for the withdrawal of Israeli forces from populated areas of Gaza, the return of Palestinians to their homes and neighborhoods throughout the enclave, including in the north, as well as the safe and effective distribution of humanitarian assistance at scale. Phase 2 would see a permanent end to hostilities in exchange for the release of all other hostages still in Gaza and a full withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. In Phase 3, a major multi-year reconstruction plan for Gaza would begin, and the remains of any deceased hostages still in the Strip would be returned to Israel. The Council also underlined the proposal's provision that if negotiations take longer than 6 weeks for Phase 1, the ceasefire will continue as long as negotiations continue. In the resolution, the Security Council rejects any attempt at demographic or territorial change in the Gaza Strip, including any actions that reduce the territory of the enclave. The fighting could stop today if Hamas agrees to the deal, now endorsed by the Security Council, said U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield. Algerian Ambassador Ammar Benjama said that his compatriots deeply feel the suffering of Palestinians and, with their own history of struggle against colonial occupation, fully understand and support the Palestinian people's legitimate and just demands. China's Ambassador Fu Kong said they have voted in favor of the resolution, but there needs to be a permanent ceasefire, which has been at the core of the international community's concerns. Russian Ambassador and Permanent Representative Vasily Nebenzia said his country had abstained due to several outstanding concerns. Although the resolution calls on Hamas to accept the so-called deal, there is no clarity on the official agreement of Israel as it is written in the resolution. Noting the public statements of Israeli leaders indicating that the war would continue until Hamas is completely defeated, he asked, what specifically has Israel agreed to? The representative of Israel, Roit Shapir Ben Naftali, said her country's goals have been very clear since the first few days following 7 October. To bring all our hostages back home and to dismantle Hamas's capabilities, and ensure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel in the future. As we have echoed several times in this very chamber, once these goals are met, the war will end, she added, noting that 120 hostages remain in captivity and that Hamas continues firing rockets at Israeli towns and cities. Israel will not engage in meaningless and endless negotiations which can be exploited by Hamas as a means to stall for time, she added.